So the first chapter that we are going to start is about loans and advances and what are the different types of loans and advances before we go ahead with the procedure from both the customer side as well as the bank side. So first we need to understand what are the different types of loans and advances. The basic definition of a loan and advance, loan or advance, is to understand that, you know, bank or financial institution in case of, you know, financial crunch would help the customer by giving some money on credit, and that money is required to be returned to the financial institution or bank on the terms and conditions agreed with the bank at the time of that borrowing. So the person who is taking the loan is called the borrower, and the bank which is providing the loan is called the lending institution. And we need to understand that the terms and conditions are to be agreed, understood, and signed off at the time of the agreement. Not that, you know, when the time of loan repayment has come and then you start saying that, you know, this is not what I agreed and this is not what has happened. That does not happen in the loan. And it is basically the banks and financial institutions, they would help the customer to overcome financial challenges or basically redistribute the financial asset. Redistribution is that the financial asset is already available with the bank. They are basically redistributing it or replacing it from displacing it from one place to another place, from one hand to another hand for some time, and against which the banking and financial institutions, they would get some interest. And ultimately at the time of repayment, they will get the full amount back. It can be the lump sum money which is paid back to the lending institution, or it can be the equal monthly installments kind of an arrangement, or it can be something like that you need to pay off some money after some time, you know, as per the agreement. So it can be the condition that has been put in place by the bank and agreed by the customer. So this is what is loan and advance all about. What are the different types of uses that loans and advances can have? I would like to classify the uses in two categories. The first category is the short-term category and the second one is long-term category. So short-term uses of financing, which is called loans and advances, would be that, you know, you can pick up material from the market on credit, right? That is one, and issue a check or a bill or, you know, something else in place of that, and after 15-20 days that particular check bill is paid. That is one way of taking credit from the market. The second way is cash credit, that you quickly go to the bank and tell bank that, you know, I need some 10,000 rupees today, and bank grants that cash credit to you, and you pay that cash credit after 30 days, 20 days, 15 days, whatever the terms and conditions of the bank are, you pay it back. This is again a short-term need that you want to complete your financial needs within a short period of time, like 30 days or 20 days or 60 days, right? Bank overdraft, we completely understand that bank overdraft is a current account related service provided by the bank. So whenever, you know, your current account balance is low and you get a check which is supposed to be paid having a higher amount than the bank balance, then bank would oblige the customer to pay the higher amount, and the remaining amount is shown as a bank overdraft. And within a very short period of time, you usually go to the bank, the customer goes to the bank and you know, submits that money in a very short period of time. So that's another kind of lending arrangement, short-term lending arrangement between bank and the customer. The third is discounting of bills. We are aware that there are bills of exchange which are floated in the market by the buyer and seller agreement. So what does the seller do? The seller basically gives a bill of exchange as against the purchase transaction. So what he does, he will write that this person will pay back this much of amount on this date, and he stamps it and it becomes a legal document. Both the parties, they would sign it. So basically the person who is accepting it, the buyer, would accept it by signing it and making it a legal document. Then seller, if he needs that money in advance, for example, he would go to the bank and get the bill discounted. He will give the bill to the bank and say that, can you please give this money to me? I need it beforehand. So what the bank will do, the bank will give him the money, take the bill, and will deduct some amount from the full amount. So say, for example, if the bill of rupees 10,000 and you know, the discount is 50 rupees because bill is being discounted before it's due date by the seller. So what bank does, bank would deduct some charges which are called discounting charges. So that discounting of the bill happens, and the person who is currently having the bill, the seller, will give the bill back to the bank and will take the money 9,950. Now what
Sir,
bank will do, just a minute, I'll take your question. What bank will do, bank will now own the bill and he will charge the customer that 10,000 rupees, because now seller does not need the money. He has already got the money for his own purposes. So now the bank will be having a party to the bill and he will be taking money. Bank will be taking the money from the buyer or the customer, whoever that person is. So this is called, these are the three types of short-term financing or loans and advances procedures for providing short-term finances to the borrower. Harsh, please go ahead with the question.
सर जो डिस्काउंटिंग का रेट होता है वो टाइम के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है या फिक्स रहता है?
देखिए बहुत सारी चीजें इसके ऊपर डिपेंड करती हैं, दैट व्हाट काइंड ऑफ अ बिल इट इज, राइट, वेदर इट इज व्हाट इज द अमाउंट ऑफ द बिल, right, in what situation the bill is getting discounted. There are a lot of things which are managed by the bank. So the rate is usually not we would say that it is dynamic in nature. No, it is not like that, but it may change over a period of time. But usually you would find that banks, being competitors to each other, would like to discount bills at the similar rate, right? If one, and again, the point is that because bank is typically taking a risk of discounting the bill, ultimately the buyer might come to the bank and say that I'm not able to pay the bill right now. So that is called dishonor of the bill. So that may happen. So bank would like to deduct some charges. That's why there is a process of discounting. Bank does not accept the bill on the face value. They discount the bill and then pay them, because they're taking typically a risk, right? You never know, the borrower would come back to you and say that, okay, I'm making a full payment. Though that is not a right practice, especially with banking institutions. You cannot go ahead and say that I don't have money, I will not pay. That brings a very bad situation to the market. The marketing position of the borrower would become very bad, right? So this is one way of making short-term finances. The second use of short-term finances is to make the payment for your current liabilities, like paying off your creditors, your rent, your wages, right? The salaries of the employees, tax liability of the business, etc. However, it is very, very important, because we are studying financial and economic aspects in banking procedures. We need to also underline the fact that paying liabilities, the current liabilities, paying your creditors, paying wages, paying salaries and tax liabilities through short-term credit is a very dangerous thing to do. You can do it once in a while. You're running short of cash, you have less liquidity. At this point in time, you can do it. But please remember that now a new liability is getting created in your books. One liability is that some creditors are there. You need to pay monthly salaries. You need to pay monthly wages. You have taken loan from the bank, short-term loan, 30 days, cash credit. You have given money to all these people. Now, please remember that this cash credit has now emerged into your balance sheet as a liability. You need to pay that off within 30 days. How will you arrange funds for that particular loan? This is very, very important. Though it is not part of the syllabus, but I'm just telling you that this is not a very sound signal for a company to have less liquidity. In financial management, last year we have tried to study what is the purpose of maintaining cash, inventory, right? Receivables, management of inventory, receivables, and cash. Why do you want to have liquidity in the organization? We'll continue that chapter over here as well from the lending perspective, right? So this is what is basically the short-term financing ideas. And then, your long-term financing ideas are always capital budgeting requirements. Capital budgeting requirements are like, for example, that you want to buy a building, you want to take a loan. Maybe 50% you will pay as cash, but 50% you would like to take a loan, right? And that loan would exist for more than 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. Why? Because capital requirements would always require higher amount of time to pay back the loans. Similarly, you want to buy vehicles, machinery, technology for your company, you would like to take loans for a longer period of time. So that is where I was differentiating that you can have two utilities for loans and advances, short-term utilities and long-term utilities. But you have to very carefully decide as a business whether this utility is actually a utility or I am overarchingly depending on these utilities. Do I really need money as do I really need to borrow money for working capital requirements? Yes or no? Do I really need money as borrowing for capital budgeting requirement? Yes or no? That has to be decided first, and then you need to move to the banking loans procedure. Now, what are the different types of loans? So one is the demand loan. So demand loan is a category of loan which is usually taken for a shorter period of time, which may also be called cash credit or demand draft. The second category is bank overdraft. Why? Because bank has a right to demand the money back. Bank has a right to demand the money back, and usually this type of demand loan is payable at a short notice. And this is again, you have an agreement with the bank whether you will pay it in lump sum one time or you will pay it in a couple of installments or so. Right? Usually what happens is a demand loan. Usually the bank would like to keep a fixed deposit or some asset or some other deposit that you have with the bank as a security to grant a demand loan. Why? Because if you do not have anything like that, your financial performance is not that sound, the bank would not like to give you a demand loan or a cash credit or a bank overdraft. Right? So see what type of securities? It can be material, goods, stock, shares, and any other asset. It can be deposits in the bank also. Normally, demand loans are for shorter period of time, so they are raised for working capital requirements like purchase of raw materials or making short-term payments, or current liabilities are being paid out of demand loan. Term loan. This is always for medium and long-term purposes. Medium means 2 to 3 years and long-term is 5 to 10 years. These are called term loans. The word term is for a tenure. When we say a tenured loan, it is a term loan. So they are granted usually for more than a year, and payment of such loans is spread over a longer period of time. And it may also happen that you may be given a chance to pay back the loan in shorter monthly installments compared to a lump sum payment. It is also possible that a long-term capital budgeting related requirement loan would be paid off at the end of the period. Like, the principal loan is given 10 lakhs at the rate of say 13%. So what you need to do is after 10 years, you need to return 13 lakhs, 10 lakhs, but interest of 10% every year would 13% would be paid every year. These kind of arrangements might be there in term loans. It can be equal monthly installment. It can be lump sum at the end and interest during the year. It can be interest during the year every quarter or things like that. So what type of demands are there when you take a term loan? It can be a business renovation, modernization, expanding of existing units, purchase of land for setting up factory, office, and other kind of institutions, construction purposes, building, purchase of immovable assets, machinery, plant, technology, right? These loans are usually secured against a mortgage of land, plant, machinery, and building. So what is mortgage? Is basically a kind of immovable fixed asset. And they have been registered by the borrower. They have been registered against the name of the borrower. You need to put in those papers in front of the bank. They will just keep the papers as a security deposit against the loan amount granted. And in any case, if the term loan is not completely paid off at the end of the last year of the loan, then bank would have a right to forfeit the papers and keep the papers, and then the auction of that particular land happens. Land, building, plant, machinery, whatever that is. Right? We have seen that in the case of Vijay Mallya. We have seen that in some other cases when State Bank of India and the consortium of banks led by State Bank of India was not able to realize the loan of about 5,500 crores. What they did, they started auctioning the assets of Vijay Mallya's company. So one of them was Bandra Kurla office of Kingfisher House, which was called Kingfisher House. It was one of the headquarters of Kingfishers in the regional area of Western India, which was about, I think, 125 crores, which was ultimately auctioned at 65 crores to one of the businessmen. So that's the process of auctioning. So that happens if the term loan is not paid off. Usually loans are secured or unsecured. Unsecured loans are usually which are not covered by any kind of security of tangible assets, deposits, accounts, shares, securities, etc. These loans are granted to institutions, who are able to provide a personal security of the owner, manager, or director. So usually you would see that, loans having no purpose, for example, personal loans. When we take as an individual a personal loan, we just provide a guarantee of another person, another shareholder, another account holder of the bank, and we say that he's the guarantor, we need money. Secured loans are usually the loans which are secured against a mortgage of a tangible asset, as we just talked about in the previous example, the term loan. So it is possible that the term loan is also unsecured. Personal loans are sometimes unsecured, and business loans and other things are usually secured because they would not like to take a risk without having a security against it. Right. What are the forms of advances? Now we have discussed about loans. Let's talk about quickly what are the advances. Short-term loans, cash credits, overdrafts, bill discounting, and purchasing. We have already discussed about that. So usually loans and advances are not differentiable in a broader sense, but normally we say advance is for a shorter purpose, loan is for a longer purpose. They are interchangeably used as one word, loans and advances, but advances are usually used when you use it for the purpose of short-term financing, short-term advancement of short-term lending. For long-term lending, we would use a word called loan. Right. Cash credits, we have already discussed in detail what is a cash credit and how it is offered. It is usually offered on current account. Please note, we have already discussed bank a number of times during BCom. Bank would open a number of accounts like savings bank account, recurring deposit account, fixed deposit account, current account, home account, right? But please note that a savings bank account for retail banking customers, retail customers of the bank, they are not for the wholesale or corporate customers of the bank. Corporate and wholesale customers would usually open current account because they would have a frequency of withdrawal and frequency of deposits higher than the savings bank account. I would like to deposit money once a month or once a year or once in 6 months as a retail customer of the bank. But the wholesale customer of the bank or a corporate customer of the bank will have a daily withdrawal and deposit rate. So that is why current accounts are zero balance accounts and there are no charges on deposit and withdrawal of money in the bank account. Right. So cash credit is always given against the current account for the business. Cash credit is not for people like you and me. Overdrafts, we have understood why overdraft is given. Please remember, bank overdraft is given to those current account holders of the bank which have a decent relationship with the bank, controlled relationship with the bank, who have applied financial jurisprudence in their transactions. They usually keep good security deposits with the bank, and bank has a confidence that this person should be able to give money back. That is the only purpose through which bank overdraft is offered. Bill discounting and purchased, as I said, bill of exchange is issued by the seller. But if seller needs the money before the due date of the bill, then he can go to the bank and he can simply ask the bank to discount the bill, deduct some amount as discount or commission and give the money to him. Now the bank becomes the carrier of the bill and he will take the money from the borrower. Procedure for granting loans and advances. Now, what is the procedure a customer has to adopt in line with banking requirements to get a loan? First is the filling up of loan application form. That is a very basic requirement. And in that loan application form, you need to submit certain documents, which is the second requirement. Third is the step when bank would analyze the application and make certain take certain steps to discern whether the loan has to be sanctioned or not, yes or no. Fourth step is execution of the agreement. Some papers are required to be signed by both the bank, the lending institution, and the borrower. The borrower has to agree with what the conditions are. And the final step is arrangement of security for the loan. If the loan is required to be secured by the bank as per the categorization of the loan, if it is a secured loan, that has to be arranged by the borrower. This is basically the procedure of granting the loan. Now, if you have any questions, you can go ahead and we'll then start the new chapter. Any questions?
No, sir.
All okay? Everybody understands? कोई
Yes, sir.
rocket science तो नहीं है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What is a general process of consumer lending that we are going to discuss now? That what is a general process that a bank adopts when it is granting loans to customers in general, whether it is a corporate customer, a wholesale customer, or a retail customer, right? So we will try and understand what is consumer lending, or what is a lending term. As a term, what is lending? Then we will try to understand how banks make consumer lending decisions based on 5 C's. Now we will learn what is credit investigation and scoring. Then we'll understand what is the consumer lending process. We'll come to that core of the process, and then we'll also try to quickly learn about credit cards, personal, housing, and auto loans that we have in the retail customer industry. Consumer lending refers to making wide range of loans and its offers to individuals for consumable items such as car, house, or furniture, right? Business is generally given loans which are called commercial lending. Please remember, there is a huge difference between commercial lending and consumer lending, which is also in other terms called retail lending. So these are two different categories, but generally, if you look at the process is more or less similar. Consumer loans would include home loans, auto loans, personal loans, credit cards, other niche consumer targeted loan products. Like if you are buying any white goods, electronic goods, there are offers for loans as well over there, right? And usually many of these consumer loans are not secured by the property or assets. However, usually the auto loan and home loan are covered by the hire purchase agreement. If you are aware of the payments which are made in the industry, hire purchase method is one, installment payment is another. Hire purchase is that you would take a loan from the bank and would also buy the product. The bank will give the full payment to the manufacturer of the product. You take the car, but you start using it as a hire. Hire means as a rental agreement. Until the time the loan is not paid off, it is called hire purchase agreement, and you keep using the product as a hired product. Once the loan agreement is completed, then it becomes your own product. It is not bank's product. But if you have stopped paying bank the monthly installments or whatever that agreement is to repay the entire amount of loan, the bank has a right to come and forfeit the car or the house from you. That is a hire purchase agreement. We'll come to personal loans and credit cards later, but this is what is consumer loan all about, right? Interest rate is the price a borrower pays for the use of money they borrow from a lender. It is typically noted on an annual basis. However, it can be paid on quarterly and half yearly basis as well. Now, what are the 5 C's of lending? 5 C's of lending is character of the borrower, how stable he is, what is the credit history of the borrower. It is applicable exactly for corporate houses and wholesale lending, the commercial lending as well. Capacity. What is the ability of the borrower to repay the loan? What is the debt ratio? What is the income? Income is compared with how many loans have been taken by, by the borrower. Say, for example, my income is 10 lakh rupees a month, but I have taken loans of 5 lakh rupees. I have applied for another 2 lakh rupees. Then what is the ratio? 7 lakh is to 10 lakh. 7 is to 10. I have 10 rupees in my pocket every month to pay back 7 rupees. My liquidity is going down. My debt ratio is increasing. My liquidity ratio has come down. Last time it was 1:2. Now it is 7:10. 1:2 is that 50% money is available. Oh, sorry. 100% money is available to pay off 50% debt. Now 100% money is available to pay off 70% debt. So my liquidity is going down. What if tomorrow I lose a job? What if tomorrow my organization's sales go down? What if there is an attack of pandemic like COVID-19 and the shops, establishments, production, everything gets stopped? What would I do in that particular situation? That is what is your capacity. Capital. What is the financial position of the organization? What is the assets versus liabilities ratio? What are your liabilities? Are your current liabilities more? Or what is your capital requirements? What is your net worth? What is your equity net worth? Right? How many shares do you own? How many investments do you have? How many debt you have? What amount of debt you have taken from the market? Right? What is your internal liquidity looks like? So basically comparison of your balance sheet is done in terms of capital, assets and liabilities. Collateral. Fourth, what is the security that you are offering to the lender in case of default or failure to pay the loan? What is the quality of that security? What is the stability of that security, whether that is really owned by you or not? So it is off late in the industrial segment of lending, the commercial lending, we have seen a lot of instances where corporates have applied for loan. They have taken loan by giving falsified collateral arrangements. Falsified collateral arrangement. I have a petrochemical factory in Jamnagar. It costs around 4,000 crores, 1,000 crores, 500 crores. And you know, somehow the visit was falsified. Somehow the bank person could not reach the site. Ideally, what happens? Bank will walk up to the collateral side, will see what is there as a collateral, will evaluate the collateral on its own and tell the bank that, okay, this is what the situation is. They have claimed this site is of 500 crores, but the site is actually 50 crores. What happens? The visit was somehow suspended, or, you know, the person was colluding with the corporate organization who is visiting the site on behalf of branch or the bank. And then, you know, he's giving a false report. Actually, the petrochemical factory in Jamnagar was not working at all for the last 10 years. It was a mere garbage factory. Probably it costs you around 50 crores. The factory has no value. It's the land value which is there. But you claimed that it's a factory, it's original, it is generating a revenue of 1,000 crores or 500 crores or 5,000 crores. And then you have shown that collateral. This has happened a number of times in the last 10, 15 years by a number of people. They've taken loans like that. We know the case of Vijay Mallya. This has happened. Yes Bank, you are aware that Yes Bank, there were changes in Yes Bank in the last 2-3 years. Can somebody tell me what those changes are? Have you heard about Yes Bank?
No, sir.
कोई बता सकता है येस बैंक के बारे में? किसी ने कुछ पढ़ा है पिछले कुछ सालों में?
यस सर, यस बैंक ने सर बहुत सारे लोन्स दे दिए थे और उसे फिर वापस नहीं आए थे। और उनकी मतलब उसने पीछे जो बैकग्राउंड चेक वगैरह जो आप बता रहे हो, कैरेक्टर, कैपेसिटी, कैपिटल वगैरह, कुछ अच्छे से चेक नहीं किया था।
कुछ स्पेसिफिक केस बता सकते हो? किसका केस था? कौन इन्वॉल्व था? कोई नहीं बता पाएगा?
सर सुना है, मतलब कि आई थिंक बंद भी होने वाला था बट बच गया बैंक।
एक्चुअली जो बात हर्ष ने कही वो बात तो सही है, लेकिन specific example I would like to share with you. There is a company called Diwan Housing Finance Limited. किसी ने सुना है इसका नाम?
यस सर, यस सर, याद
Yes,
आ
sir.
गया।
क्या करती है ये कंपनी?
सर ये मतलब लोन देती है, मतलब जैसे हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनी है।
इसकी इंश्योरेंस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस भी हैं, इंश्योरेंस भी करते हैं। DHFL नाम है इसका, if you remember.
यस सर।
काफी बड़ी
Yes,
कंपनी
sir.
थी और इसके ओनर्स 2 भाई हैं। आई डोंट रिमेम्बर देयर नेम्स नाउ। मल्होत्रा, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर, पंकज एंड धीरज, पता नहीं कुछ ऐसा ही नाम था।
पंकज और अक्षय सर।
अच्छा, so these were the brothers who are basically the promoters of the organization. उनके पास मैक्सिमम शेयर होल्डिंग थी, बहुत अच्छा कर रही थी ये कंपनी मार्केट में until 2019. What happened when RBI and Security Exchange Board of India, they investigated the transactions of Yes Bank. Yes Bank also grew in last 10 years like anything. सबसे ज्यादा तेज किसी डोमेस्टिक बैंक ने तरक्की करी है हिंदुस्तान में तो वो येस बैंक थी between 2008 to 2018. And Rana Kapoor was the CMD of the bank, chairman and managing director of the bank. उसके बाद राणा कपूर अरेस्ट हो गया और जेल चला गया एंड ऑल दैट। उसको पहले तो 2018 में आरबीआई ने अपने रूल्स के अंडर में राणा कपूर को कह दिया कि अब आप छोड़ दीजिए बोर्ड को, पूरा काम छोड़ दीजिए और किसी और को इसका चेयरमैन बनाइए। ऐसा इसलिए हुआ कि बहुत सारी इरेगुलरिटीज यस बैंक के कामों में दिखाई दी। जैसे कुछ डिपॉजिट्स यस बैंक ने अपनी बैलेंस शीट में ज्यादा दिखाए जबकि एक्चुअल में नहीं थे, और कुछ लोन्स जो उन्होंने डीएचएफएल को दिए थे वो लाइट में आ गए। जितनी डीएचएफएल की कैपिटल थी, नेटवर्क थी, उससे ज्यादा अमाउंट का लोन डीएचएफएल को दिया गया था। ये इन्वेस्टिगेशन का पॉइंट बन गया। जब ये इन्वेस्टिगेट किया गया तो पता चला कि डीएचएफएल ने झूठे कोलैटरल्स दिखा करके, रॉन्ग फॉल्सिफाइड इंफॉर्मेशन दे करके इस अमाउंट के लोन्स को ले रखा था। और सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट बात कि राणा कपूर वाज अवेयर ऑफ इट। CMD of the bank was aware of what was happening on the ground. He was giving a green signal to all loans which were given to DHFL group. This is where the first time some preliminary investigation happened and SEBI and RBI forced Rana Kapoor to step down. Once he was removed, then some other facts got unearthed and Rana Kapoor was put behind the bars, and DHFL brothers, they also got, they got arrested. और उसमें कुछ महाराष्ट्र सरकार के भी कुछ ऑफिशियल्स इन्वॉल्व थे या क्या था। आई थिंक समथिंग हैपेंड इन द डिटेल। व्हाई आई एम टेलिंग यू ऑल दिस इज कि जो कैपिटल वाला पॉइंट है, दैट योर नेटवर्थ इज 5,000 crores, यू हैव टेकन अ लोन ऑफ 15,000 crores, आप पेबैक कैसे करोगे? आपने ऐसा क्या दिखा दिया यस बैंक को या किसी भी फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन को दैट आई कैन टेक अ लोन 3 times टू माय नेटवर्थ, माय कैपेसिटी, माय कैपिटल, my revenue is 2,000 crores, I have taken a loan of 15,000 crores, 7.5 times better. Why? So this is where a lot of organizations, what they do in terms of character stability, I would tell you, revenue, they continue to show that their revenue is growing up. This happened in the case of Vijay Mallya. This happened in the case of Nirav Modi, that they continue to show that their revenues are going up, though their revenues were going down. Why financial lending institutions did not go into the balance sheet, investigate the fact that whether this stability is correct or not? That is what I'm saying. Credit scoring. You need to provide a credit scoring to an organization, a commercial or an individual, before granting him a loan. And when you do that, you need to investigate what is the character of the organization, the commercial establishment. What is the capacity of the commercial establishment? What is the capital efficiency of the commercial establishment? It is showing me that it is showing 7% profit every year, whether it is really 7% or less than 7%. And if they are ready to offer a collateral, let me not go into the collateral. Let me just see what type of assets do they have, what type of building, land, ownerships that they have, what type of shares, what type of investments do they have in the organization. Let me investigate that. And then comes the conditions portion, which is like changes in the economy. What is the level of the competition? What is your market position in that particular industry, right? And now also you need to see that what is the bank's strategy towards lending, towards borrowers, towards account holders, towards corporates, and what is happening at the level of Reserve Bank of India as a central bank. If central bank changes the policy, if the central bank changes rules and regulations, if the central bank charges more amount of interest or deposit in terms of liquidity ratio or in terms of mandatory funds, then what would you do? You will be forced to, rethink on strategy of lending, more money or less money. You are able to lend more money when you have more deposits and less deposits with central bank. If you have more deposits and central bank also asks you to keep higher amount of deposits with central bank, then you have to shrink the loan strategy or lending strategy that you have. Those conditions will have to be reviewed at the time of lending. When you take a decision about lending, these are the 5 C's: character, capacity, capital, collateral, and condition, which would define whether the lending should take place or not. Still, these 5 C's are not the final yes that, after conditions, I would say, okay, grant the loan. No, that's not the point. What are the goals for the bank? As I just said, that when the bank is going for individual, consumer, or commercial lending, what is the purpose of the bank? Generate a flow of application to meet bank's consumer loan or commercial loan objectives. The first purpose is to identify how many people, how many institutions, how many organizations, individuals are looking for loan in the market. This is the first purpose of the bank. It is not necessary, it is not mandatory, it is not possible for the bank to grant loans to all the applications, whether it is commercial or individual in nature. Obtain enough information to allow the bank to make best possible loan decision. Let's split this objective into 2 parts. The first part is obtain enough information to allow the bank. Why do you want to obtain information? Once you capture the information about individuals, corporations, you create a profile for them. And that information can be used by you, your child organizations, your children organizations, your parent organizations, or your friends, or in the industry, or Reserve Bank of India, wherever that information is required to be shared as part of the business. So obtaining information is very, very important. You create an application to obtain maximum information about the profile. It is a secondary aspect that you make a decision, okay, we grant loan or we don't grant loan. And also it is very logical, highly logical, that we must have information before taking any decision. You go to the market, you want to buy something, you do some sort of research in your brain, right? Movies, we see movies after, we recommend each other that, okay, this movie is good, that movie is good, this has a positive point, that has a negative point, etc. What is that? You're collecting information, analyzing it, and then taking a decision whether yes or no. Oh no, not a priority. Let's not see a movie. It is not a priority. What is that priority? That is a condition. As of now, watching a movie is not a priority. And that is what we were talking about in the previous slide. Conditions, changes in the economy, changes by the bank in its goals and objectives. Third objective, or maybe fourth objective, is to ensure compliance with the regulations. Most important, that retail lending and commercial lending have different types of regulatory domains. Reserve Bank of India, Banking Regulation Act, Companies Act 1956, amended in 2013. All these acts are there. We have talked about in Unit 1 the entire legal framework, payments and settlements, credit guarantee, export credit guarantee. There are different enactments which are in place to provide framework, compliance framework for the purpose of consumer and commercial lending. So bank has to make sure that all the important, mandatory, and recommendatory points of compliance are met within a regulation when you grant a loan. And that is the purpose when we fulfill those requirements in point number 2 and 3, which is obtaining enough information. Ensure a timely response to the customer request. It is also very, very important that you respond to the customer on time, whether it is a consumer lending or a commercial lending. Because somebody who is applying for the loan must be having a logic behind it, must be having a reasonable time frame, must be having a decision pending, depending on the acceptance of loan application by the lending institution. So that loan decision is very, very important. It has to be done in a timely manner, but we have to follow the procedures. We have to keep in mind those 5 C's, including the last point, which is conditions. What is the process of lending? The general process of lending, whether it is consumer lending or commercial lending, is completion of loan application, processing of loan application, underwriting, closing, and funding. Closing and funding, why it is called closing and funding? Because closing might be rejection of the loan application also. The bank may come out and say, no, we cannot fund your loan. So that is what is closing. Funding is that bank comes out with a decision of positive funding of the loan and they say, okay, we will give you the fund. Step 1, completion of an application form. We know that we have to capture different types of information in terms of consumer or commercial. Step 2 is that we need to process the application to see what is the credit report of the borrower, potential borrower, not the borrower, potential borrower. We also need to appraise the credit report, application form, balance sheet of the commercial organization or salary statement of the individual or bank statement of the individual. And then on the third step, verify whether this information is correct or not. This is what is the part of processing the application form. You need to first check what is the credit report of the organization or the individual. Then appraise that credit report in light of bank statements, collaterals offered, verification of balance sheet, the third step, verification of the information, and what is written on the application form. It is also possible that the very step of processing will give you the result, whether to grant loan or not. Because if the balance sheet is not talking to your application form, if the information captured in the application form is different than what your profile is, what your credit report is, the decision happens at the processing stage itself, that you are ready to say no to it. Now, the very important thing that is shown on the slide is blacklist. What is blacklist? The credit report is checked with 3 primary purposes: to see what is the credit profile of the person, how many loans he has taken so far, how many paid back, what is the current status of debt ratio, debt income ratio, what is the total income, what is the current debt profile that you have. The fourth is that is he currently blacklisted by any financial organization? And we'll come back to the details of credit report. That credit report is normally shared by organizations. Lending institution would share with each other the credit report, right? So this is what the step of processing is. Credit report. This information is compiled from all banks and then shared electronically amongst them so that a bank can assess risk and make sound credit decisions. As I said, credit report is what? All organizations, all lending institutions which are giving credit to commercial institutions or consumers, retail customers, they would create a profile of all customers that this much loan is given, this much they are paying back, this loan is completely paid off, this loan is not paid off, this guy has been absconding, he's not making payment, whether in terms of loans or in terms of credit cards. In both categories, they make a credit report and share it centrally in a private mechanism. And there are some organizations who are providing a central program to access these credit reports prepared by each of the bank. So bank, what it does, its credit profile, it is shared. They just keep it shared with one third-party organization, and that third-party organization would create a portal. All banks would have access to it, and they will be able to share their information with each other. The information of the credit profiling can be accessed at any time through the designated users of the bank. It is not that everybody in the bank will have access to this particular portal. It's a third-party portal. Portal is owned by the third party. Information is shared by the banks. They would create it in a beautiful dashboard. And in India, there is an organization called CIBIL, CIBIL, Credit Information Bureau of India Limited. This is the organization which is having this kind of a dashboard, which is called credit report, and that is shared by. So CIBIL takes help from a couple of organizations, which are called, the couple of organizations are Equifax and the other one is TransUnion. These are the two global organizations which provide this credit report portals, information sharing on credit report portals. So CIBIL takes help from these two organizations to create a credit report portal. Contact point verification is another very important feature of processing of application. And it is the process of verifying the authenticity of client's information mentioned in the loan application, such as business address, employer, salary, compensation, right? Security, collateral, everything can be verified through the process of contact point verification, in which physical inspection is carried out, or where possible, telephone call is made to certain places. So for example, if your mobile number is mentioned, your business address, office telephone number, or the board number is mentioned, that person is contacted on that particular phone to verify whether that is working or not, whether the person who is picking up the phone is able to reply to certain basic questions that are asked. Then, you know, basically the site is physically inspected to see whether the person is present over there or not, whether the commercial organization is actually having the same address, is it the registered organization or not, where we can communicate through, right? And also in terms of collateral, as I said, if I'm saying that I have a plant, or I have you know, a building or a land somewhere in Gujarat or somewhere in Maharashtra or somewhere in Kerala, I can go to that site and see whether that is actually with this organization or not, because ownership is the most important verification point. I'm saying I have a land in Mallapuram in Kerala, so the person would go to Mallapuram in Kerala to that particular physical site of the land and see whether the land is registered with that organization or not. I will show these are the registration papers I have. I can go to the local tehsildar or somebody else or a patwari to identify and verify whether these papers are correct or not. That level of investigation has to be done while processing the application. So basically the credit department will complete the activity of CPV, contact point verification, for the purpose of commercial lending and consumer lending. Loan process. Now, what happens in the credit investigation and the loan processing? Receive application and review it for information that might warrant immediate rejection. As I said, during the loan processing itself, you may reject the loan file. Check the bank's credit files to determine if the application has a current or closed loan account with the bank. Review the account history. As I said, bank statements, salary statements, income statements, profit and loss accounts, balance sheets. These are different things which are investigated completely to see what is the profile of the organization from the 5 C's perspective. Obtain a report from the credit reporting agency. Blacklist. Check whether the commercial institution is blacklisted or not. Contact employers or the organization from where the loan application has come and other creditors for references directly. You don't have to inform the customer or the commercial institution that has applied for the loan that I am going for an investigation. You can do, because it is your procedure. They have agreed to your procedure. That is why they have applied for the loan. Verify collateral value of the item securing the loan, not just the collateral value, but also the physical existence of the collateral. Now, the third point of the loan process is to underwrite. What is underwriting? Analyzing the credit, assigning the conditions, making a decision of credit, approve, conditional approval, decline. Approve and decline are very, very clear. Analyze the credit, how much credit has been demanded and how much do we have to offer. It is not important. It is not mandatory again that he has demanded for 10 crores of loan as a commercial institution. I have 10 crores capacity. One. Second question is, he has asked for 10 crores, but his capacity is not 10 crores. His capacity is 2 crores. I need to tell him. Assign conditions, very, very important, that what kind of loan he has applied in the commercial category, what kind of loan a consumer has applied in the retail category. I need to see what conditions can be applied to him. What type of loan, what type of repayment, what happens if he's not able to pay. So it's a complete legal procedure to assign conditions. Make a credit decision, approve or reject, we understand, but what is conditional approval? That sometimes what happens is the person is on the verge of getting a loan, but because of certain situations, certain 5 C's restrictions, he's not getting the loan. So what we do as a lending institution, we create a condition for that. This is the condition. If you are interested, you can take loan from us, but you have to fulfill X, Y, and Z. Maybe sign an additional bond, maybe, provide 10,000 rupees fees, create a deposit in our bank, etc., 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 etc. If you fulfill that condition, we will approve your loan. So that is what is conditional approval. Step 4 is either closing the application or funding the application. Right? So what you do in step 4, you order the loan documents and you start preparing the contract. Right? Once the loan documents are prepared, the contract is finalized, you get that verified and signed by both the parties. The person on the behalf of the bank will sign it, and the person as a retail customer or a commercial institution would sign it. Final conditions are met, loan is funded, and the title is recorded. Title is recorded means that always you would see that loan is given against a title. And the title is that this is, for example, commercial loan for XYZ and company, loan number so and so. That's called title. Only when you have given the loan, then you start recording the title, because now your books of accounts will show that this person has been given the loan. He will pay back the person, the money to us. He's a kind of asset for us now. Going forward, we will continue to reap benefits of that loan as a lending institution. Credit score, we have discussed about a credit score. What is it? It is a numerical expression based on a statistical analysis of a person's credit files that represents the credit worthiness of the person, whether the person will be able to pay back this credit or not. That is what is the credit worthiness of the person. And that is what is expressed in numerical terms when you statistically analyze a person's credit profile. Credit score is primarily based on the credit report information typically sourced from credit bureaus. As I said, CIBIL, CIBIL is one organization in India which is providing the credit information related services to most of the banks in India. Whether it is a public sector bank or a private or a foreign bank, they have access to CIBIL, and CIBIL takes help from TransUnion and Equifax, which are global service providers in terms of credit information. So they have also got access to CIBIL, and they help CIBIL to create that kind of platform. Why do banks use credit scoring? It is very, very important to judge the credit worthiness of a person before granting a loan. Otherwise, any and everyone would apply for a loan and would get it. And probably then economy will not be able to help the genuine lending requirements. Where actually you have to lend, you will not be able to identify that. So why do they use? They use credit scores to evaluate the potential risk posed by the lending money to consumers and to mitigate losses due to the bad debt. If you start giving loans to any and everyone, it becomes a bad debt. And when you look at from the macroeconomic perspective, at a broader level, you would realize that you need to supply funds to those who really need it. Those who can actually bring up the GDP of the economy. Right? For example, if I go and apply for a car tomorrow in the bank, that I need a car, I want you to fund it for me, a car loan I would need, which is a term loan for 5 to 7 years, for example. If I buy a car, that creates a complete circle of revenue in the market. Why? The car demand will create requirement for a car to a factory. Factory would start running, creating that car. attached to which there are number of employees, suppliers, and a complete car manufacturing ecosystem which would get revenue out of it. Employees would get salaries, shareholders would get their value, capital will be enhanced, dividend will be created, suppliers would get payments, and bank will get interest out of the loan, etc. But that is only possible when I have the capacity to pay that back. Why do you need credit scoring? Credit worthiness of the person is very, very important. And lenders are the people who are supposed to decide why. Now, the second logic from the macroeconomic perspective is that these are the deposits which help the bank to grant loans, not their own capital. Banks do not use their own capital to grant loans, but use deposits very judiciously to grant loans. And who are these? Where are these deposits coming from? The retail and commercial customers who have opened bank accounts with you, who are called account holders with the bank. Whether it is a current account, whether it is a securities account, whether it is a home account, whether it is a fixed deposit, whether it is a savings deposit. So what is written on the screen is written, but if you think from a macroeconomic perspective, lending institution, a bank, has to very carefully see what is credit scoring. This is one method of credit scoring which is in US, but now it is popular in India also. A similar method is there in India as well. Fair Act Corporation has started with this method, and credit bureaus like Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. I've already told you about Equifax and TransUnion. Experian is another one. They have adopted this formula of calculating the credit score, and this is what the scale is. So this is also very popular globally. India is also adopting the same method now. India has also got the similar method for calculating the credit score via CIBIL, as I said. These are different factors that affect the credit scoring. Now we will stop here and we will come back in the next class next Wednesday, that what is credit scoring and how credit scoring is affected because of different types of factors. We'll come to that, but before that, I will end the lecture here and we will have questions. Please, if you have any questions, you can ask.